It actually, I started in my youth in Clinton, and then I ended up going and playing junior D. And I tell my players this, they go, Coach, you played junior D? I go, yeah. 14, turning 15, playing against farm boys. And let me tell you, you learn to grow up quick. There was a guy named Steve Dewberry playing at St. Mary's with me, and Colgate was there watching. Then they saw me, and I got a couple goals and assists, and they're like, who's that guy? And that's just how quick it happens. I always took the game in a different manner. Like, I always thought I was getting cut every year. Even in my 8th year, I was scared to death that I wouldn't make the team. I think that's what kept me hungry, and I was really prepared, and the fear kind of drove me to play at a high level. I always felt like my work ethic carried me and my skill was secondary. So I wanted players, when I started coaching, to have that similar mentality. This guy named John Sawada, which was a mental strength and conditioning guy, really helped me in my mental game of how to coach and how to be calm and how to ask more questions and not get upset every little thing or you lose the guys. It's really about working together with them and building a bond and showing them that you care for them. If they don't think you care, there's no way you can get the most out of them. If they know you care, then you can be really hard on them. We always wanted to win. I know Musty's competitive. I'm competitive. I think that brings the best out of both me and him, and the worst sometimes too, because we can go overboard. I think it's rivalry in sports is really good for fans. It's really good for the teams. It just brings a lot of competitive juices out, and it brings, I think, the best out of a lot of players. Both teams have been, I'm not like they're well prepared. I think the fans are they're very intense and they want to win. Every year that we have winning teams every year, and Shreveport has winning teams every year. We get up for Shreveport and they get up for us, and that's what I think draws the best out of us. And I think a lot of scouts, they come down to those games because they come watch a game in mid-season and they're like, oh my gosh, looked like a playoff game.
Hard nose, tough to play for, intense, old school. You're a throwback in hockey today compared to a lot of coaches.
The modern day is what we're trying to do too. Like, we just have a little bit of the old school mentality. Like, we hold each guy accountable every time. I really have a passion for the game. I have a passion for these players of getting them where they want to go. And a lot of them don't think they can achieve a lot of these goals. Sometimes we do clash a little bit because I'm trying to push them further than they want to go. They end up, not liking me. But once they get that $200,000 scholarship, everything seems to change. And I care about you, and we know we're working together, we're not working against each other. We're probably hard on the ice, but when we get off the ice, like, we have great conversations. We don't yell, we just talk. We really try and ask questions. What do you think you did today? How do you think you would evaluate yourself?
Right.
You give everything you got. And we will not drop our standard for anyone. I think we get a lot of guys committed because we are detailed in what we teach here. We are detailed in how hard we play, so they don't have to teach that. I can't be like sugarcoating it and saying, oh, well, it's going to be okay. And then they get to college and they're sitting out. That is one thing we take pride in. Is our guys are going into college and playing. They're not sitting out. I've had a lot of guys come from different leagues, and they express how good a league it was once they got in. And then when you get in the league, you're seeing how much skill there is and how hard it is to score goals and how hard it is. A lot of guys, skilled guys, try and run away from that stuff, and then they get into college and then they can't play because they ran away from it. Where we, as parents, we should be pushing them to embrace that hardness, so that when they get that hard test, they're going to be able to pass it when it's the next level. We're always trying to work on things that are going to be game-like situations. I think that's what's changed in us a little bit more over the years. And it's just the game has got quicker and faster, and you have to adjust. And if you don't adjust, you adapt or you die.
Has there ever been a year where you've changed more than the players coming into your team have changed?
Oh yes, I changed with every team. Tell you the truth, the one year we won it all, and the next year we had all these guys calling us to come play for us. Like I mean, everyone was going, "Oh, we want to play, we want to play." So we looked at the guys' numbers and we're like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's a stud." We didn't really do a lot of background on him, didn't call. We said, "Yes, you're coming," and we just really recruited on numbers instead of character. And it was one of the worst years I've ever had coaching. The following year, we brought in everyone was a captain or assistant captain, and it was one of the best years. We didn't have near the talent, but man, did we ever play like as a buy-in as a team.
The advisor's role in hockey over the last 10 years is drastically changed. Where do you see it right now?
It has changed. Advisors reach out, and they don't just reach out with, okay, do you have a spot for this guy? They send video, they send multiple calls. They really try and work for the player as much as again to get their foot in the door. But now we have, coaches. Before, that's all they relied on is more their word of the advisor. So you really had to trust that advisor, especially. But now we also have Instat.
Right.
So now we go to Instat all the time. We can see everyone's shifts. So now it's just changed where they get themselves in the door for us to watch them on Instat. And then we come back to the advisor and say, yeah, this guy's great. But
give us a story of an advisor that you just absolutely won't pick up the phone now. What happened to get a guy? What does it take to get into that category in Dan Wildfung's world?
Honestly, I would pick up the phone for everyone because
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
You just never know. It's a small world. You never know when that advisor has a player that you really want and need, and if you burn that bridge, it's over. Like you're never getting them. And now Shreveport's getting them, and I'm not. So that's my rival, and I don't want that. We really want to make our guys feel great when they come down here with their billet families, and we're visiting a lot of billet families, going in and making sure they're set up in the right billet situation. Because I think that's really important. They don't have to, when they're spending time in the billet family and they're not worried about, they're not getting enough to eat, they're not getting enough sleep, they're not getting enough they're not in a great situation. It affects them, and I don't want it to affect them. So we really take precedent on making sure they have good spots to say.